Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ReflexGT 8. My name is Aspec.
I'm Rel.
And it's time to go for our first match of today. We have ourselves quite an interesting setup already. We have ourselves EpsyloN versus pMp. It's a French versus Italian setup. Rel, you've had a little bit of a check for this lineup from the Italians. They have been considered to be somewhat of a dark horse team by the sort of predictions. You and I had a bit of a chat, and you don't actually agree with that, do you?
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, we know nothing about them, so, you know, for all I know, they could be amazing. They've obviously won one game so far to actually get to play EpsyloN. EpsyloN actually had a bye.
Which is Project Esports.
Exactly, yep. So they beat Project Esports, they've got into this next round, so they're all warmed up, but they are going against EpsyloN, who are the favourites to win this, you know, after placing first at the last, Battle of Amsterdam, second at the last Reflex. Things are looking good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a trial by fire for pMp, to say the least. Let's go and take a look downstairs to the EpsyloN lineup. We have ourselves the first team right there. There they are. We have downstairs Cam, thank you, production. Oh, there we go. As we have ourselves the EpsyloN lineup so far. Actually, for the first time in a while, Agony will be joining them as well. He was not there with his team last time they played, which was at the Battle of Amsterdam. Agony placed 5th there. I think he was with
Apex.
He was with Apex that time around. He filled in for Riddles, who was also not here this time around.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it this time either. But you know, EpsyloN have taken him back. They've realised that, you know, he could be useful in this tournament. And after placing 5th, you know, he's going to want to improve on that with this current team. And I believe that you know, I don't want to be throwing predictions out so early, but I think they're going to be able to take this against pMp.
I'm going to go home agree with that one, as the lineup for this one is, of course, going to be Broken, a.k.a. Prodigy, Agony, Carnage, and Diablo, as we may as well just pop back towards Cam, and there we go. And we're getting ready here for that setup. Overall, though, we have ourselves a couple of predictions as well. I think it's going to be quite interesting in this tournament. We have ourselves the bracket stages later on in the actual tournament, and the other side of the bracket is Apex Pro, which is, of course, the other team we'll be looking at later on. EpsyloN, in the meantime, I think they should not have too many problems in this particular tournament. The only real bumps in the road, obviously, Apex and Western Wolves in that regard. Yeah, I mean, the winner of this actual game is going to be going on to be playing Link as well. Link have actually just come out of a 3-0 win against Farico Connection. Lowland Lines have beat, it's Joker Boy's team, I believe it's Gods of the Arena, is that correct? Yeah, they've just come out, Lowland Lines have won 3-0 as well, so just to bring you up to date where we're up to. So some very convincing wins so far. And like I say, winner of this is going up against Link. I don't know if that's going to be on stream or not, but that will be quite an interesting game. We shall definitely try to make a stab at it, because Mohawk is in that team, and we haven't seen him in a long time. And of course, your brother is on that team as well, and taking the piss out of him is obviously exactly what we do.
We love doing it.
That has to be done. Let's take a look in the meantime at our opponents. It's going to be pMp. There they are, the Italian lineup. Look at that. Look at those faces, all happy and ready to go. They have no idea what kind of ass raping they're in for. It's kind of cute, isn't it? Look at those guys.
He's got his energy drink. He's preparing himself.
Absolutely.
It is going to be an uphill climb here, but I was looking at the Twitter feed earlier. They've got a lot of support. People are getting behind them. And I think people like to see the underdogs do well. They like a little bit of an upset at LAN.
We have seen it several times here at ReflexGT. We have seen it in the past with the Spanish teams, with Pain Gaming doing fairly well, placing themselves 6th at previous Reflex, and actually placing themselves 1st at EEE in Sweden 2 weeks ago, I think it was now.
About that, yeah. But they beat Lions in the final to take that. Yep. So did well in Sweden. It was only a 12-man team, so people are debating whether, you know, that first placement will be reflected in this current Reflex tournament. But it should be interesting. They have actually been voted as the choke team, though, on the Deserto threads, which is going to be interesting to see.
Okay, fair enough. On their lineup will be Power, Kolga, Donnie, and Ogre. It's the first time here for them, and we'll have to see whether or not that Southern European spice is actually going to be effective there, because we have seen it before. We have seen the nations being popped up there, the nation hashtag. XPX Nation, Pain Nation we've seen.
XPX went huge. People absolutely loved XPX. I think it was following, I believe it was Blue Fran's 1v3.
Oh, yes. It was actually a 1v4.
Oh, was it?
It was a 1v4 at Bootleg, if I'm not completely mistaken, as Search and Destroy.
And it was 3-3 as well.
And it was the round to win it, indeed. So let's go and take it live into this matchup to see whether or not we can get this party underway, as some of the players are currently just setting up. Let's see if production can get a connection towards the administration, and let's see whether or not we can get this underway. EpsyloN were a little bit late inside the actual venue, so we don't know whether or not they're actually completely set up. I hope for them they are, because, well, essentially that. We're ready to go on the way. We're going to kick off here with CTF on C-Town. C-Town has been a little bit of a mess up recently on the Soda rules, actually, because we're getting ready to release the next generation of the Soda rules, and people are like, C-Town, we're not quite sure about that.
It is actually going to be removed from the rule set.
Which is a damn shame.
Well, I mean, the community seems to be a little bit split on this. I personally think C-Town is fine. I'm not a player myself, so that's not really much to go off. But there has been quite a bit of criticism on the spawns of this particular map, and it is going to reduce the map count for Capture the Flag down to 4, you know, which isn't great, but it happened with Black Ops. That got reduced down, and, you know, it just makes it more competitive, I suppose, in the end.
Well, let's take a look here. In the meantime, what kind of setup we have? Well, we've taken it away from the EpsyloN side, who are fairly defensive so far already, trying to take it away very, very slowly. We do not actually see them being all too aggressive like we would see in the past, as we have a first flag round already on its way by pMp, but Diablo says no already right off the bat. Let's go over these rosters while we're at it. We got Diablo, Agony, Carnage, and Prodigy coming out for EpsyloN, while pMp comes out with Donnie, Kolya, Power, and Ogre. These will be the 8 warriors to take it away this time around.
Yeah, and I mean, something quite interesting about Carnage is not only has he proved himself so far in Modern Warfare 3, but absolutely dominated Black Ops. You know, throughout the Call of Duty series, he's just been placing first, you know, always consistently in those top placements, and arguably one of the best European Call of Duty players.
He's also quite the character as well, and that's pretty much what you want to have as a player, a unique player who can pretty much market himself as a great asset within the team, which is essentially what's happened. But so far, so good. No, actually, not so good for EpsyloN, as pMp will pick themselves up their first flag in this series on C-Town, already a 1 cap behind. Now, obviously, the spawns are sometimes considered to be a little bit iffy on this map, especially on the well side, which may cause EpsyloN a little bit of a issue at the moment. But Prodigy right now is on the flag. He is running it home. Let's see on the lookup. Let's see if he has some coverage behind him. Yes, he will. Will be going down behind the middle corridor, so he has more than enough coverage. Let's see, he's not even going to go for a lock, so he's not going to hang out on the balcony. He's going to go straight for the well and try to get this flag captured.
He has been stunned, though, and in a little bit of trouble here. Something you've got to remember about EpsyloN, it is their first game. The fingers may be cold, and pMp are warmed up. They are 1-0 in the lead, pMp, but EpsyloN are looking to take this, but at the moment we've got a stalemate on our hands.
Which is a bit of a shame, to be quite honest, because Prodigy did try it very, very badly, very strongly, tried to rush it straight in, but sadly enough, Power on the pMp side was all the way over there. Now, the last time we saw something like this happen, like a lockdown like this, was the last ReflexGT. It happened several times, but every single time we see, like, EpsyloN right now seems to be very sure of their case, because they're just sitting behind the well with the ACR, not on the balcony, not sitting on long range. They're really much predicting that their SMGs are going to be able to pick it up. Let's see where it goes. Well, so far, Ogre is pretty much holding them down.
Yeah, and I think pMp would be actually quite happy to take this the whole way to the end of this round and just take the 1-0 lead. Prodigy isn't going to be doing anything at all behind this well. Might be worth just switching over, seeing what maybe Diablo can do as he pushes up with this PP. He's going up with the support.
Oh, he's sitting right in the high grass as well.
Yeah, very defensive player from pMp.
Yeah, absolutely. And they know exactly that they need to keep this defense hold on as long as they possibly can, because they got 1 minute and 53 seconds. Nice knife. As they will, no, Semtex setup will not be picking up that flag. Yeah. Sitting in the high grass, is going for a bit of a rotate. Nope. As Kolga once again will shut him down, and EpsyloN will have to go back towards the drawing board once again. Carnes will pick up a single. Has got himself an ACR as well as a UMP, but once again we'll have to rotate all the way along the map, and he's still in the back. Although we have a possibility here. We have got Diablo, who he's got himself a PP9, but the problem is, if you go on towards his left side, you have a lot of distance to cover, and it's a lot of open space, and a PP9 is not the best weapon for long-range combat.
No, I mean, when you've set up like pMp have at the moment, it's so hard to actually get them to drop that flag to get the return. Diablo's doing all he can, but when Donnie's just behind him, he's going to make those kills. Carnage is having to defend Prodigy, so there's only 2 people from EpsyloN able to push up.
And so far, so good, definitely. If the pMp line can hold themselves off like this, then they should be just fine. You may have also noticed that I'm going to warm up a little bit myself, because I'm slurring a little bit. My apologies. It was a long night. It was a long night.
Yeah, it was. I think everyone had a bit of a good night last night when we all went out. But going our separate ways. Anyway, let's go into the game. 37 seconds left on the clock. Really good from pMp. Just having a look at the scoreboard now. Not much in it between either of the teams.
No, Power's been sitting on that flag for a very long time, getting himself 2 kills in this series so far. Remember, it's... So, yeah, Power will, once again, the flag has been dropped. The flag is here. Can Carnage actually balance things out here? I think it's going to be the case. The flag is still away. 15 seconds remaining. Donnie has got the flag, though. This is going to be a 1-0 for pMp at this rate.
Yeah, that was a really tight situation. Both flags were actually dropped at the same time. It could have gone either way, but it is just going to revert back to the stalemate position with only 3 seconds left on the clock. First round of Capture the Flag, 1-0 to pMp.
Yeah, absolutely astounding already. A 1-0 advantage for pMp. Remember, we will be going on towards Search and Destroy on bootleg, lockdown, CTF lockdown. Then we have ourselves S&D Carbon and CTF Dome if we need to go for all 5. So far, so good, though, for pMp, as they picked themselves up round number 1. Now, obviously, they were on the easier side. It's very easy to defend if you're on that side, if you have the flag in towards a double lockdown. Let's see whether or not EpsyloN can rip themselves through the pMp lineup. How is this going to go?
Well, Logo was just left on his own for a moment there. He's waiting for his teammates to spawn. They're probably spawned up now, but this is a really strong push from EpsyloN. You can just see pMp swarming that well area, trying to get on the defense. Oh, and there we go.
Double right there.
Making the kills.
Very nicely done. The assault has been shut down, but Agony is still there, ready to go. Does not manage to pass go, does not collect that money. And look at this. We have a push right down the middle. It's going to be on Kolga, who's sitting on towards that side. He's got himself a PP9. He has himself that pacing. And there's been a lot of discussion whether or not this SMG is pretty much the best one in the game or not. Your personal opinion?
Well, I mean, if you look at the statistics when you're flicking through them, technically the MP7 it is better than the PP, but you know, as a lot of players know, it doesn't usually work that way.
No, exactly.
I think the MP7 is the favourite at the moment, but I do see quite a few players. I know my brother uses the PP90, so it just varies from player to player.
And so far, pMp actually holding themselves off still very, very well versus the team that is pretty much being considered the favorite of the tournament. If they pick up themselves the first map, then they could be looking very, very good indeed. At least pressing themselves in towards the position where other teams are going to be like, hey, this team may actually be quite good. Now, I'm personally going to say that because EpsyloN walked in quite late, they're not going to be warmed up all that well. So I think that's a factor here as well. So that's pretty much one thing to keep in mind. Let's take a look here at what the scoreboard is looking like. Let's go on board with Donnie, see what he's up to.
Yeah, so watching Donnie now, as he's doing a little bit of defensive work with his PP. He had to cut back a little bit to help his teammates. Ogre also picking up a kill. And just looking at the kill feed, it just seems to be going in favour of pMp every time at the moment. That was actually 3 down against EpsyloN, and this is going to be a big push now. Donnie throwing stuns up in that room, doesn't connect with anyone.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness, that is so many kills from pMp. I think that's 7 back-to-back. EpsyloN unable to break those down.
What a beautiful 2-piece right here. Can Power actually follow up towards this one? No, will not happen as Carnage comes around the corner, gets a 2-piece of his own, and shuts him down here. But Oker's actually moved up all the way with his ACR. Very unconventional play here from the Italians, moving all the way up with their entire team, trying to get this flank out of the way. With 2 minutes and 22 seconds on the clock, this may actually be some sort of a flat cap if he can get the support from the rest of his teammates. Can he get the cross here? Yes, he will, and the support is here. This could be a cap.
Yeah, Donnie doing some really good work. Carnage does eventually take him out, but this is looking very good for them to take it to a 2-flag lead. Moments away from the flag at the moment, and he's probably going to jump onto it.
There it is. Beautiful. 2-0 is going to be the series so far for pMp. The EpsyloN, the favorites of this tournament, completely pretty knocked off with their socks. It's quite weird to see this happening already.
Yeah, and it's good that it is this fresh new Italian team that's nobody's seen before. Nobody knew what to expect from them, and they're certainly proven themselves very early on.
It's that Southern European factor again. We've seen it before. We're seeing it again.
And I was about to say I'd imagine pMp will go slightly defensively, slightly passively now, but going completely
against
that.
They're going to try to lock it.
Yeah, they're going for the stalemate. I mean, they've just got to hold this for 1 minute, 25 seconds, and they will take map number 1 on Capture the Flag Seatown.
Quite surprising because we were in the beginning of the game, we were discussing a little bit, saying, you know, this pMp team, first time here at ReflexGT, we haven't seen much of them at all throughout the community. EpsyloN should have a fairly easy time. However, we have been completely and utterly proved wrong here. pMp got a very, very strong showing here already on C-Town. I'm very, very curious how this is going to go on towards Search and Destroy, even though Donnie does drop the... Oh! Nice clutch play.
Yeah, clutch from Power there, preventing that flag return and therefore preventing a capture for EpsyloN. And that means they aren't going to be able to get a relay. Power just needs to hold on to this as long as he can. He's probably asking his teammates to just swarm around him, covering from all angles, and they'll take this map.
Yeah, it's... As pMp will get both sides here. As actually, you see a couple of mentions in the chat. One word, C-Town. I have to completely utterly disagree with that because pMp is giving us themselves a strong showing on both sides of the map.
I mean,
yeah, okay.
I guess possibly EpsyloN haven't been practicing this map. That could be the argument. You could say the same about pMp. We don't really know. But in any case, a 2-0 victory against the favourites is certainly a big achievement for them. Let's see if they'll be able to continue it, though, onto Search and Destroy.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to boost them, to say the least, in towards the next round, and I'm really, really curious how that is going to go on towards S&D Bootleg after this. Now, Bootleg is obviously that really, really open map with a lot of potential, and you have that ramp, you have the high platform on towards the right side if you're on the attacking side, so that's definitely going to be difficult. So we'll see how that is going to go. It is 1-0 in the series. pMp actually taking it away. Let's take a look at the stats here for a second. As, yeah, it's pretty much even across the board.
Yeah, so it's just the flag captures going in pMp's favour. What we are going to do whilst they are just setting up this next Search and Destroy map, though, is cut to a very quick break, and we'll be back with you guys shortly.
Yes, let's go for a quick advertisement break, and we're going to continue on map number 2, Search and Destroy on Bootleg.